So hello everyone. It's been a long time coming, but your boy has learnt C++. Well, a bit of it anyway, but enough to sort out our jumps. So a year ago in Blueprints, I did the Mario style jump tutorial. The basic idea of it was that if you tap the jump button, you only do a little jump. If you hold it down, you'll do a much higher jump. And the way we did this was using the timeline. So when we jumped, it would activate the timeline, which would then increase the gravity scale over time. Because the gravity scale increased, that meant that the character fall down faster. And that's basically how we're going to do this. So quickly, I'll just show you what I mean. So this is Kingsley. It's my little cube guy. So first things first, you can follow along with the third person character template, C++. The only difference between that character and this character is the mesh. That's the only difference. I just changed it to cube because I like the cube. So this is a jump, so I'm just going to tap the spacebar. And now I'm going to hold the spacebar. Oh yeah. So as you can see, it's pretty good. It feels really responsive. This is what we want our jump to be. Alright, cool. So I think the best way is if I just open up Paint, click. And we'll write everything down so you understand what we're going to be doing. Cool. Right, so it's best that we kind of plan ahead as to what we're going to be needing. There's no point just diving in and then, just making 100 errors and just being a bit crazy about everything. We need to plan things. So we're going to do a jump. What do we need for the jump? Well, we need the input for the jump. So input for jump. Like I said with our jump, if we tap it, we just want a small jump, and if we hold it, we want a longer jump. So it makes sense that if we release the jump, we'll have a separate function that will increase the gravity scale, which allows for the shorter jump. So we will need a function for jump pressed, and also a function for the release. Cool. And that will be player jump and also player stop jump. Right, so those are the two functions that we'll need for the input. Next, we want to sort out the landing next, I think. So, and for the landing, we're going to be overriding a function from the character class. So what we'll be doing basically is, the function is called landed. You'll also have the parameters that you need to put in for it to work, which will be hit result. I believe that will be the correct thing. Oh, hold on. I believe it's const. I think that's what we'll type in. Well, don't worry, I can find it in a second. So we'll have the landed. On landed, we will be resetting the stuff. So resetting this, as in, we'll have a gravity multiplier. We'll have, obviously, if the gravity scale's increased in the jump, or we want to set it back to 1 when we land. That means we can jump more than once without the gravity, being crazy. So I'll just put reset the gravity scale and multiply. Sweet. Right. Because we can't use a timeline, we're going to be using timers for this. So how to do the timer? We will need 2 timers, and well, I'll explain the first timer. So the first timer will be for the jump gravity multiplier. So jump, let's call it, let's just call it the gravity multiplier timer. So this will be for increasing the gravity scale over time. The second timer, we'll be using it for checking if we're falling. Now, we don't want the jump multiplier timer to conflict with the falling check timer. So basically, we can have our jump, the gravity will do its thing, and that will be all cool. What we don't want is for when our player character walks off an edge, we don't want it to float then as well, because that will just, it'll be jarring, and it will just be silly. So we will also be working on a thing for falling as well. I'll write the timer below this one. So we'll do a fall check timer. So this will check is falling. So if you're familiar with blueprints, you'll know what the is falling thing is. I'm sure a few of you would have seen my last tutorial, so you'll know what I'm talking about. And if falling, change gravity scale. Cool. And then we'll be using the begin play to start this full check timer. The reason we're doing this is because we won't be clearing this timer. We want this timer to be going on constantly. So timers can be started and they can be cleared, or they can be paused and all sorts. For our jump in gravity multiplier, it will basically start when we jump and it will clear when we land. Full check timer will just be on just from begin play and onwards. It won't affect our jump timer, and you'll see why in a minute. We'll just do an if, if is jumping true, it doesn't need to apply the logic. So this is basically what we're going to be doing. So I'll be hopping into this. I'm just going to swap over to this character, so my YouTube character. So excuse me, this YouTube character basically completely the same as the third person character from the template. Like I said, the only difference is the cube, Kingsley. I've already written the functions in here, just so I made sure I got it right, basically. So these are the functions you'll be using. I assume if you're following along, just write them all down. You'll notice this green line. So I've not done anything. All I did was just write these, and we'll put it into the CPP. So right now we're in the header file. So we'll sort out the header file first, and then we'll dive into the CPP. So we've got our functions here. You can just play a jump, stop jump. They're landed. Notice I've put a virtual void and also override at the end. That's because landed is from the character class, and it's not a new function in our class. It's taken from another class. Obviously we've got a gravity multiplier timer and our full check timer. I've put these in the protected section. And yeah, that's that for that. We've got a couple variables, only two. We've got a float for the gravity multiplier called grav multiplier. We've got a ball, b, let's just call it jumping, whether we're jumping or not, and that's in the little public section here. I know it's bad practice to put variables in the public. It's supposed to be in private, and then you make functions to set and get them. I might go over that in the future, but I'm sure other people have already done that. What else do we need to do? So down here at the bottom, also in public, we're going to make our timer handles. So timers need handles just so they know what they're calling and what they're stopping. So we're going to make f timer handle. So that's the name, f timer handle. You know it's worked if it goes that kind of bluish green color. And we'll call the first one grav multiplier timer, and the second one we'll call I guess full check timer. Cool, and that will turn color. There we go. So you know it's worked if it's turned color. So that's everything for the header class. Now we want to put everything into the CPP file. So how we're going to do this? These little green things, what we can do is we can just right click, quick actions and refactorings. It's the one on the top with the light bulb. Just press create definition. It's to load because I've not used it in a couple of minutes. There we go, and that will happen. We can get rid of that, and we'll just do this for all of them. All we're doing, well, as it says on the tin, we're making the definition, so we're just writing the function in CPP, in the CPP file, I should say, so we can use them. Right, sorted. Now we can hop over to our CPP file. So as you can see, same includes as a third person character, same for the most part, constructor information. Feel free to print screen and copy this. One thing I'll just add, the jump Z velocity I made quite high, obviously because we're increasing the gravity. If we had the jump Z velocity be really low, you wouldn't jump very high. So just so you know, I think this will already be in your constructor, so you can just change the number to a higher number. It's all down to your personal preference. All this camera boom stuff is just so the camera's a bit further away, and so the camera feels a bit nicer. So you can feel free to copy that as well if you like. Yeah, so I'll get onto the, I'll do this first. So I just commented this out because this is like the third time recording and I got this wrong last time. So this is how we set a timer. Let's change this. Let's check 4, wasn't it? Just give it a second. Is it? No, it's full check timer. Oh, oh, cheeky. Right, so what I've done here was a mistake. I mean, it's not really a mistake, it's better to write it this time. So if you're doing an F timer handle, I'd just put handle at the end, just so you know what it is. Because obviously you've got the function, which is going to have timer at the end. Yeah. So there we go. Check 4. And I called it full check there, so I swapped it around. That's fine. That's all sorted. Right. So yeah, to set a timer, so we write get world, bracket, bracket, arrow, get timer manager, bracket, bracket, and then it's a full stop, and then set timer. And the set timer needs quite a few things. So you need the handle, you need, like if you've looked at a binding axis, bind action, that section, this bit will look familiar. We're basically just binding the handle and the function together so they know what's what. The 0.1, so that is the time it takes to I guess refresh, or how long the timer lasts for. So Yeah, it will make more sense when I get to this next. So this next part where I've put true, that's is looping true, which means every 0.1 seconds is going to call the function again. Basically, that's what it means. The 0.0 at the end, that's like the delay before the start of the timer. I've just put it as 0, just put it as 0. So that's how you set a timer. So if you know, take a good look, soak it in, because we're going to write another one in a minute, but not quite yet. So we'll start off with the player jump. So really easy. Boom, done. Right. So that's calling the jump from the character. I guess you probably can't see that, but in the little box, it's a character jump. Now we are going to set our timer. So as you saw in the last thing, so we're going to set the timer for the gravity multiplier. So as you can see, get world, bracket, bracket, arrow, get timer manager, bracket, bracket, dot. See, it pops up for me there, set timer. Right, so this time I won't make the mistake I did last time. I'm going to get the grav multiplier timer. Then we're going to do the binding, so it'll be this, then at, and then it'll be your the name of your pawn or character, the name of the character class thing you're using. So it might be a third person character. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to call the gravity multiplier timer. Cool. So that's the first bit. We want it to go every 0.1 seconds. We want it to loop, so that's true, and 0.0 for the delay. Done it again. There we go. So always make sure you get the right one. Right, that's cool. And as well, after that, we want to set the jumping to true. Of course, true. Cool. So that's everything we need for the player jump. Now let's go to the player stop jump. I will go over the little binding to keys thing as well at the end, so don't worry about that. So the player stop jump will be called when we release the key. This is going to be really simple. Get character movement. Bracket, bracket, arrow, and because it's a variable, gravity scale. So we don't need any more brackets or anything, it'll just be gravity scale. And we're just going to make it equal to 4, because that's a good number. You know, quite a lot of these numbers are personal preference. You know, you play around with it and find which is the best for you. So that's all we're going to put in that. Really simple. Notice that I've not put jumping equals false in here. Some people would think that, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to put that in the landed. It'll kind of make sense a bit later. Well, yeah, it'll make sense once we've typed the whole thing out, basically. So yeah, we'll do this landed now. So the landed, we're going to clear the grav multiplier timer, and we're going to set the jumping back to false. We're also going to be setting the gravity scale back to 1 as well. So, you know, let's just copy and paste that in first. So set that to 1. We're going to clear. Alright, so this is how we clear the timer. So it's same start. So it'll be get world, bracket, bracket, arrow, get timer manager, bracket, bracket, dot. And as you can see, we've got a thing clear timer. And all we have to do for the clear timer is just type in the name of the handle, which was grav multiplier handle. There we go. And that will basically just stop the gravity multiplier timer from, you know, continuing playing. We're going to stop it and clear it. Cool. And what I'm also going to do is, obviously we're going to set the jumping to false here. So false. And we're also, with the gravity multiplier, grav multiplier, we're going to set that back to 1. I think 1. I think I put it to 0.1. Yeah, I put it to 0.1. The reason I put it to 0.1 is we're going to basically just be adding to it. If I added 1 every time, every 0.1 seconds, it's going to go up real quick. So we're going to put it as 0.1, and then we can always change this number later to make it, you know, a higher jump, lower jump sort of thing. Like I said, the numbers you can change around and tweak to your own liking. So the gravity multiplier timer. This is like the most complicated part of it, but it's not really that complicated. All we're going to be doing is, well, we're going to do an if here. So we want to get character movement, bracket, bracket, and we're going to get the gravity scale. And we're going to check if the gravity scale is less than 4. We're also going to check if we are jumping. Because the only time we want this to you know, play this sequence here is if the character is either jumping or if the gravity scale is less than our, you know, max gravity number. You could make your own variable, like, you know, make an actual variable with a name, but I'm just using 4. I know 4's a good number for me, so 4 it is. So if we're less than and we are jumping, we want to increase the gravity scale. So again, all we have to do is get the character movement, bracket, bracket, arrow, gravity scale, and here we're going to do a plus equals grav multiplier. Right, so what this is going to do, the plus equals, I'm assuming you already, most of you know at least a little bit, but plus equals is basically the same as saying, you know, gravity scale plus gravity scale, well no, sorry, gravity scale equals gravity scale plus the gravity multiplier. And, you know, I'll just type like a, you know, A equals A plus B is basically what we're writing here. So that's going to do that. And then after that, we want to increase the gravity multipliers to make... So in the timeline, in our last one when we did the blueprint, we had that sort of, if I jump back to here, we had a bit of a curve. So I'm just going to draw this line here. So we had a bit of like a curve like that, didn't we, for the gravity scale? So, you know, the gravity was 1 for ages, and then it suddenly kind of shot up. This is how we're going to sort of achieve a similar thing. So we're going to do grav multiplier, and we're just going to plus equals again. Let's just do like 0.5, I guess. Might be a bit high actually. We'll do 0.4f, and we'll see how that goes. Like I said, this is another number. It can be tweaked around, messed around, to get what you're after. So this is all great, but now what do we do if, for example, the gravity scale goes over 4? Because you want the jump to be consistent. You don't want, you know, it like, you know, one jump where the gravity scale goes to 4.4 or 4.5 just somehow by accident, you know. We want a consistent jump. So again, I'm going to do another if for the gravity scale. I'm going to check if it's greater than or equal to 4, and also if jumping. You know what I'll do is I'll just put equals true just so you can, just so it's a bit clearer, you don't normally have to do this. Make sure you type 2 equals as well, not just 1. 1 equals is for like setting a variable or something. The 2 equals is for, you know, checking the variables. So just remember that. So for this, if it, you know, is 4 or above 4, all we're going to do here, have I still got it? Yeah, is just do that basically. Just going to set it to 4. That way it's, you know, we have a consistent jump. It's not going to be unpredictable, which we don't want. Yep, that's cool. That's everything for the gravity multiplier timer, I believe. Cool. Right, full check timer. So we already initialized this in the begin play, which is cool. So this is basically when we walk off a ledge, obviously we want the gravity to increase as well. So we're going to get the character movement again because we want the is falling function. Cool. Now there's going to be a slight difference here. When I type in is falling, you're going to see this red line, and like you'd think, oh, just like if I put like equals true, you'd think that would work, but it doesn't, because is falling isn't a variable, it's a function, right? So what we want to do here is all we have to do is that, and then another bracket to close it, right? Because this is a function, we need to put the brackets at the end. It's a bool function, so you know, if we just call it, it's just going to ask if it's true, basically. We also want to make sure that be jumping equals false as well, because we don't want this to activate when we're jumping, because that will conflict the 2 timers, and we don't want that. So if we're falling and we're not jumping, we are just going to copy and paste this. Boom. And we're just going to set it to 4. And that is that. Just going to have a quick little double check. I think we're all good here. And let me just go back to the begin play, so just so you can see it. Full check handle, you know, the full check timer, 0.1, and that's good. So we're calling it begin play, so it's always running. You know, we didn't make a clear timer for this one. So that's all cool. So at the bottom, I've already written it here actually, but you just copy and paste that, as you can see. So we're getting the player input component, bind action, jump. You notice the difference between action and axis is that you have to like tell Unreal Engine whether the button's pressed or released, because axis is like a 0, well, -1 to 1 thing, and you know you won't have that. But on this you need to, you know, tell Unreal, are we pressed or are we released? If we're pressed, then we can call the player jump function. If you release the button, we call the player stop jump function. I think that's everything. So we're going to save. We are going to not get a notification from Microsoft. So we're back in. I've set it to my character here. So, you know, you'd make, so you, like, these are the classes you'll see. Right click on it, create blueprint class based on YouTube character. So you make your blueprint class, you assign it to your game mode. You know, this isn't a tutorial on how to do that. I'm specifically doing the jump, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. I want to compile my C++ code the way I do it, and the reason I do this is because someone told me to do it in a video, as I am telling you in a video to do this as well. I don't know if it's that much of a difference, but the guy said in a video to do it, so I'm doing it. If we recompile it from here, so modules, to find the modules, window, developer tools, go down, modules, open modules tab, and then I've just docked it here on the side. I've just typed in, you know, my project thing. This is my project. Recompile the project. Wait for like, I don't know, might be here for 10 minutes. Who knows? While it's compiling. Oh, that was quick. There we go. Let's just go in. Let's hope it works this time, because this is my third time doing this. Right, we're gonna tap the spacebar. Ooh. Now we shall hold the spacebar. Yeah, boy. Right, cool. That works. Let's check the falling as well, quick. So I'm just gonna. Let's make this big. That's fine. I'll pop you on here. Cool, and I'll fall off. So there'll be a bit of a weird collision thing. You'll notice like he kind of does this weird thing. It's just, I think it's just because he's the cube, and the cube just collides with it. See that little bump? But there you go. Quicker fall. The jump's all good. As you know, you can tweak the jump to your liking to make it better or not. I think this feels pretty good actually. I'd probably increase the gravity multiplier just a little bit, just to make it a bit more snappy. But yeah. So that's my first C++ tutorial in Unreal Engine. I'm hoping to do more. I'm trying to think of what else I can do. I did make a wall jump. There is a little video. I've got collectibles, checkpoints, and a wall jump. It's not too hard to do, to be honest, so I might do that in another one. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to do it, because I can't set myself to a day like that. I've been busy, but yeah, so please make sure you subscribe, like the video if you like it, share it if you want to share it and stuff, and thank you for watching. I hope it helped.